Up is the Detroit Lions, the other one seed. Boy, they've been walking wounded second half of the season. But how about this, Colin?
Yeah.
Running back David Montgomery is back in the lineup. It's official. After reports said he could miss the entire season.
Yeah.
It's refreshing. Kind of be back in a position to where I can help the team. Yeah, I missed it, so I'm happy to be back.
Pretty big get back if you are Detroit. And it's not like they're rushing him back. You know, he's been out a bit, and it sounds like it's not super serious. Obviously, need his health. They're going to need him to win the Super Bowl. I don't know about this weekend against Washington, but pretty impressive. They got the linebacker Alzalone back, and he played well.
They're slowly getting healthier. They're the odds-on favorite to win the NFC, and this morning I think they will. I think the Commanders will be an interesting test. And by the way, you know why playing the Commanders is very interesting for Detroit? Because if they get to the Super Bowl, they're going to have to go through Jalen Hurts, who moves, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Mahomes. So they don't see that at practice with Jared Goff. The Lions have your classic pocket quarterback. That's what they see at practice. But Jayden Daniels is what Detroit will face in the Super Bowl. Jalen Hurts is a little bit of what you'd face in the Super Bowl. You know what you won't face in the Super Bowl? Matt Stafford or Jared Goff, pocket guys. So for me, this is a great opportunity for Detroit's defense to get a preview of Lamar, Josh, or Mahomes. It's a really important game to learn from, not just win.
Yeah. There's a few things. Win the Super Bowl. Obviously, it's a huge, massive benefit, and it makes their team even significantly better. But I think even just as this team is constructed, even during their last few games where they were all banged up, I think they could still win. It's harder, obviously, right? Like I've talked about this before. It's like if you're saying that full strength, the Lions are, you know, out of 0 to 100. Let's just say they're, to make it real basic, like they're 100. Even if this team's at 90. I still think that they would be good enough to win a Super Bowl. But obviously, the more pieces you get, the healthier you are. It builds that case. It obviously makes you more resilient and just an overall better team. Coming back, or once Montgomery went down, it was like, oh, we can't win a Super Bowl now. Like that doesn't make any sense to me at all. This team is significantly good, and what I think this team has shown as almost kind of like a house of cards, where you could be insanely dominant, insanely powerful, and just unstoppable, whether you're looking at both offense and defense, or maybe just the defense or just the offense, and you lose one guy and it really it just really falls apart, because it's just so much really hung on them all being together and working together. And as soon as you take one big piece down, you know, it just really just falters. While some teams can be really dominant or really great, even not even necessarily dominant, and they can lose certain pieces, but they can still be really ferocious. Again, they might not be technically as great as they were full strength, but it's not like a complete collapse. They don't go from 100 to 90. They go from 100, or, you know, in terms of the collapse, they go from 100 to 70, and whereas more resilient teams can go from 100 to 90. And we've seen that over the years with many different teams. And that's why you can't always be like, oh, well, so-and-so was able to win, you know, and they were missing their wide receiver 1 or their wide receiver 2. And it's like, yeah, well, because of the construction of that team and the way how they run their offense and what makes them special and what makes them great, it's not predicated on being able to have this, and this, whereas this other team might actually be better than that other team, but they're just not as resilient. As soon as they lose, you know, this one piece, it's over. Like, kind of using the Eagles as an example, it's like you take away Saquon and that team might really, really fall apart completely, or you take away AJ, you know, and we've kind of seen that to a small degree with the Eagles, not as much so far. And I think that's what the Lions kind of proved, is that they are incredibly resilient. So I don't know how anyone can just go out and make such a bold statement to be like, oh, they need Montgomery. No, they want Montgomery to do that. You know, they want that, but need is too strong of a word. Maybe if you were going up against like the Chiefs at their offensive superpowers, when they were, you know, when Mahomes was throwing for over 5,000 and they were really, you know, hanging 30 points nonstop, then I would say, okay, maybe. But I don't think that's the case with any of these teams right now in terms of who you're going to face in the Super Bowl, the Bills, the Ravens, or the Chiefs, or maybe the Texans, who knows. But also the other thing, though, that I want to address is this. It is interesting in terms of like this being kind of like, not a test necessarily, but you're going to experience. The truth is this team has already been around the block. If this was a new team, like if this was 21 or 22, then I would say that really can add value. And I don't think it doesn't. I don't think it doesn't add value to be facing Jayden Daniels and Lamar or excuse me, Jalen, and en route to the Super Bowl of that, because it's it's going to keep you fresh. Like the things that you'll be working on, the game planning and all of that, like it'll be more similar game plans relative to then if you were going up against a Stafford. So I think that's the benefit. But in terms of kind of like, this is now just kind of extra experience, or we're kind of learning, like this team has already been around enough where they've faced these quarterbacks. They went up against Josh Allen, like literally during the regular season. So they know, like that's the whole thing about when Lamar feasts on the NFC. It's because they've never faced him, and they don't face quarterbacks that are even close to that. And it's like, whereas the Lions, they have enough, and this isn't a new team right now. It's just not. But there is a benefit. It's why the Eagles, you can make the argument, did so well against the Ravens, one of the only teams ever in the NFC to ever do well against Lamar Jackson. And it's because they have been playing, they do have Jalen Hurts, and so they do understand how those offenses are run more similarly. But at the same time, Jayden Daniels was able to hang 30+ points on them. So it's just like, sometimes I love simplifying these types of things, and sometimes, it's just like we simplify them, but not in a way that necessarily always makes sense. Again, to be clear, I do think that there is absolutely some benefit to kind of going on a run against these mobile quarterbacks to kind of like get you ready. Because you're right, if you were just going up against pocket passer, then you just suddenly face Lamar in the Super Bowl, or Josh Allen or Mahomes, like, yeah, that could be jarring, without a shadow of a doubt. But I just think that this team has been around. They're experienced enough. They've shown themselves to be incredibly resilient, and are able to kind of just wear different hats in different moments with different defensive approaches. This is just an incredibly resilient team. And again, just because you're facing quarterbacks who are similar doesn't mean it's going to be the same experience. Because technically, then under that logic, Jayden Daniels is going to feast. Josh Allen feasted. So I guess Jayden Daniels is going to feast now. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I don't think anyone necessarily 100% believes that. I mean, I think Jayden Daniels can absolutely have a great game against the Lions, and I think it will come down. I think this will come down more to an offensive game. I don't think that's such a shocking, hot take. I think this will, definitely will be an offensive battle for sure. But you're going to have to trust that the Lions' offense is just more powerful, more dominant. They've been there longer together, and they're going to be at home. In this moment, no matter how great Jayden Daniels' offense is, and no matter how great Jayden Daniels is, you have to imagine, if you're just going punch for punch, that the Lions are just going to be able to just do significantly more. But again, it's the playoffs. You never know. Jayden Daniels is incredibly hot right now, and I really do think he's a legitimate superstar. And I think the only way that the Commanders really come away with winning this game is if you leave this game and you go, Jayden Daniels is the greatest quarterback I've ever seen. Like, I think that's what would have to happen. All right. Like, I don't think you win this game kind of like in a straight up kind of just, back and forth game. I think you would have to leave this game and say, Jayden Daniels is better than Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. Like, oh my God, what did we just see? Is this guy going to just now go win the Super Bowl? Like, has he just leapfrogged every single quarterback now? Like, is he truly like, oh my God, like who is, like, and you're like going to be processing it in real time. Like, what am I even watching right now? That's what it would take from my viewpoint. But, we will see. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you Montgomery back? Kind of what they need or not need in terms of kind of going through this run of the playoffs right now, as well as, ultimately getting to the Super Bowl and winning the Super Bowl. Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. Community here, and I'd absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.